That's going to wind up a loss of a full 3 yards on first down. The Browns will quickly use their third and final timeout as they'll stop it with 40 seconds remaining in this first half. Behind the chain, 2nd and 13. Watson. Then he drops it incomplete, and their struggles continue here.
This defense is not going to make it easy for you. They're a physical group, and we just saw it there on that play. They came in, made the contact, just as he's trying to haul it in.
Watson, off play action. Looking deep downfield. And now Watson throws another interception. It's Brian Branch with it. And the Lions are going to get the football here as the ball will come out to the 20. The Detroit offense ready to begin their drive. And with a 3-score lead already, this is not time for a momentum change, so I'd imagine they'd be happy to just take this into the locker room. It's caught inside the 25. Touchdown, Detroit. Jared Goff with his 3rd touchdown pass of the afternoon. And the Lions will extend their lead here just before halftime. One play, 80 yards. Pretty easy drive to recap.
It certainly is, but not so easy to execute. Starting on your own 20, you want something to kickstart your drive and get it off to a nice start. They went for the whole thing and got it. That's a great way to send a message to the opposing team.
So not much time to speak of remaining in this first half as the kick's away. On the return from his end zone is Grant. And no chance to get away as they'll get him down at about the 17-yard line. The Cleveland offense ready to go. And the ball backed way up. So thinking with this amount of time on the clock, probably just sit on it, and we'll see these two teams go to the lockers.
Yeah, I don't think you want to overthink it in this situation. Either side of the ball. Just go ahead and finish up the half and get on out and talk about it. Well, this defense is certainly organized and playing off of each other because the rush is providing pressure and the coverage is forcing incompletions and capitalizing on mistakes. When you get every level on defense hitting it once, you get first half scores just like this one.
And he'll be out of bounds right at the 40. 23 yards on the pickup there and a first.
Exactly what they needed right there because they needed to use the ground game to take some pressure off because the quarterback's been struggling a little bit.
They'll fake the handoff. Now Watson. And the Lions pressure too strong. Down he goes. Time for a break. We've hit halftime. 2 quarters down. 2 still remain. We step aside. This is the NFL on EA Sports. Welcome back. Halftime over. We are ready for quarter number 3. Alongside Charles Davis, I'm Brandon Gordon. The Lions in the lead, and they're going to get the football first as well as the second half is underway. And the tackle going to be made right there at the 25-yard line. The Lions offense ready to kick off their next drive. Well, it's hard to imagine the first half going any better for them, CD, and now here as they begin their first series of the second half. I mean, they score here. This one, it's pretty much out of reach.
We honestly might already be at that point, partner, because this team...
a first mistake for him in the ball game as it's intercepted. picked off by Grant Delpit. And the Browns are going to have the short field here as they'll take over right at the 50. Not the way you envision things to start out the third quarter. One play and already a turnover.
It's interesting. You and I were talking with the coach, and he talked about how at halftime, as a play caller, he wanted to make sure he got a new script going for the second half, not just the one that he operated off of to start the game. Nowhere on that script did it have that result.
They go up the middle with Chubb. And the result here, a pickup of 8. Leaves him with 2 to go on second down.
Good yardage there on first down. Exactly what you want. Get yourself set up to keep making first downs, keep the clock running. And if they're smart, you're starting to milk the clock. No hurry before you run your second down play.
And now a fake on the jet sweep and a give to Chubb. And he'll only get a yard to bring up 3rd and 1. But not much on that run, Charles.
No, that's exactly the way to execute a run blitz there. They guessed correctly that they would move the ball on the ground, honed in on it, and stopped them. Mark that down for a win in the defense's column.
And they'll try and run the option to pick it up. The decision to keep it turns out to be a good one. 11 yards in the first down. Well, he is certainly dangerous when he spots a lane, and he keeps it himself there. Worked out well.
And how about the moving parts on a play like this? You know you have to practice it over and over because it's almost like a ballet that has to be choreographed. But how about once he made the decision to go, he committed to it and went. Let's face it, most teams are going to defend the running back much more than the quarterback on that type of a play.
And he'll take this beyond the line of scrimmage as he slides to a hole. He'll get 3 yards on the scramble there at second down.
I certainly like what he did right there because he smartly wanted to avoid forcing anything downfield because nothing appeared to be open. Nice harmless slide there to avoid the big hit, and he gets a small gain on the play.
Watson now to throw. And his pass is intercepted for the 4th time today. Picked by Emmanuel Mosley. And the Lionsons are going to take over at their own 28-yard line. The one side gets an interception, but their defense comes on the field and picks them right back up by getting a pick of their own.
And I think you saw the same thing that I did, Brandon. As he ran off the field after making that play, we saw his quarterback seek him out and offer a personal thank you to bail him out a little bit as the offense takes the field again.
The Detroit offense ready to begin their drive. And they start things off with a carry by Gibbs here. And give him 6 yards here as he stopped near the 35 at the 34.
From the lineman to the guy running with it, that was a well-executed first down by the offense. With 2 shots left to get the first, you can get a little aggressive here on second down if you want and try for some bigger yardage.
Off play action. Here's Goff. He's airing it out for Williams. And it's knocked away and incomplete.
Playing success in this game already. 2 touchdown catches, but that was a very dangerous throw. But you have to understand, with 2 catches already for touchdowns, they're going to try and force it to him at times as well.
On 3rd down, they go Montgomery. And he's got the first down yardage as he brings this up to the 47. The drive stays intact with a pickup of 13.
Most of their damage has been done through the air. I mean, they've rung the bell 3 times with passing touchdowns, but guess what? Ground game has not been neglected. Nice little burst right there.
Now a first down throw. Goff. Over the middle, and there's a diving catch. Another nice gain. That's now 30 yards between those last 2 plays.
And that's how you throw for a whole heap of yards in a game. You get efforts like that from your receivers. How about him laying out for that catch?
Yeah, excellent. Makes the quarterback look a whole lot better. They'll fake the handoff. Now Goff. And he's taken down. This will be a Brown sack. Martin Emerson in there to bury him for a loss of 11.
Okay, I'm not sure you could actually draw up a better pass rush than that one right there. Nowhere to go outside. He had to keep backing up and backing up and backing up. Eventually,
there he goes right side. Down the sideline he goes. Touchdown, Detroit. Jahmyr Gibbs, 47 yards. And the Lions open the lead up to 34-0.
You get in a second and long situation down here in the red zone. I'd say most defensive coaches would think pass, let's bring some pressure. So this is kind of a tendency breaker here to hit him with something on the ground, and he'll take it all the way into the end zone.
Extra point by Patterson, up and good. And that makes this 35-0 now. On the return from his end zone is Grant. And not a good return here at all, as they'll be forced to start at the 12-yard line.
In this position, trying to get back into the game, teams are looking for a spark from their special teams. That's not what they got, though. They got a setback, and they have a long field to cover if they want to try and put points on the board.
Trying to shake off the interception. He'll look to throw. That's going to be knocked away and incomplete.
Another throw there off the mark, and obviously he's battled all of the interceptions. Things just haven't been true to form for him. I don't know. What do you think's going on out there, CD?
That's a great question, and my suspicion is he's been coached really.
And my goodness, another interception. Picked by Emmanuel Mosley.
Well, that is now his 5th interception thrown in this game, and Charles, you've got to tip your cap to this defense. I mean, they have been so impressive reading these passes, stepping in those lanes, and picking them off.
Yeah, sometimes the best offense is an excellent defense, and they've done exactly that. What do you think, partner? A season's worth of highlights in just 4 quarters? I think that's what we're seeing from this group.
Throwing on first down, but this one winds up to be incomplete.
They started this drive backed up against the wall by the turnover, but I love their fight. Planted their feet and forced the incompletion on first down.
So 2nd and 10 now here in the 3rd quarter from Detroit.
They'll try the middle with Montgomery. And he'll get him inside the 15 down to the 14-yard line. 9 yards, and that leaves him just short, so it'll be 3rd and less than a yard. So from 2nd and long, now we go to 3rd and very manageable.
Yeah, they love that phrase, don't they? Because as an offensive coordinator, you can keep people a little bit off balance and guessing because you don't have to throw it. You can come back with a strong run game if you want to. And if you're in 4-down territory, that really opens things up for you.
They'll fake the give. Now Goff. This one complete to his fullback out of the backfield. It's a gain of 3, and it gets him to first.
They didn't need much. They didn't get much. But what they did get was enough for a first down.
Now a 1st and 10 at the 11.
Now Goff. And it'll be intercepted. Picked up by Juan Thornhill. And the Browns are going to have it here at their own 15. The Browns drive about to get started.
Well, we're still in the 3rd quarter, so there's some time to kind of clean this up and make it look more respectable. Now, a win, that's probably gone out the window, Charles, but I don't know. Do you look at this as a time to just improve and maybe start to look towards the future?
I think you have to find something to play for, something to grasp onto until the clock runs out. But, Brandon, we've been around this game a long time. This is an outlier. You don't get many blowouts like this no matter how the game looks on paper going in. This one has turned out to be everyone's worst nightmare realized.
A 2nd down pass play there, but it's incomplete.
He did a fine job there not hitting him before the ball arrived, and I've got to tell you, you can often mistime that play because of the angles of approach. When you're going to get him, sometimes you panic as well and think, I've got to be there right now. Instead, in this case, timed it perfectly and knocked it free.
Now, meanwhile, a final play here is incomplete, and that's going to take us to the end of the 3rd quarter of play. 3 quarters in the books. We'll return with more after this. This is the NFL, and it's on EA Sports. And they're indeed going to go for it here on 4th down. So trailing here in the last quarter. Let's see how this plays out. They will indeed snap it to Watson. Puts it on the carpet. It's out.
Well, one of the linebackers has got it.
And his guys are going to get the football at the 23-yard line.
Well, partner, I think it's safe to say they can mark this down as extremely frustrating. Here we are in the 4th quarter, and that last play, that turnover, I think it epitomizes what happened to them all day on offense.
So symbolic, and that's why they're still being shut out.
On 1st and 10, here's Gibbs.
And he's going to get a solid gain of 9 before being brought down. 2nd and right at a yard.
Brandon, I've got to think this offensive line has got some smiles on its faces. And I know it sounds crazy, but they practiced for this back in training camp. They knew they'd be in situations where it'd be extra defenders in the box coming after them, trying to keep them from locking down a game. Right now, they want to show the world they're up to the challenge.
To throw on 2nd down is gone. Escaping the pressure right. And he is caught at the 7-yard line. And in for the Lions touchdown. 4 touchdown passes now for Jared Goff.
And the Lions continue to run up the score. They lead it big here in the 4th. Well, when coaches come into a game preaching total team effort, CD, I think this is the type of ball game that they're dreaming of. It was pretty apparent early on that they were clicking in all 3 phases. It's been fun to watch.
Yeah, sometimes in the NFL you end up with matchups like we've been watching here. And when you go back to the early drives, you can just see that one squad was on a different level in this game. Safe to say, we haven't been disappointed in watching their execution throughout this contest.
On the return from his end zone is Grant. And the decision to bring it out, not a good one, as he's tackled at the 15.
In this position, trying to get back into the game, teams are looking for a spark from their special teams. That's not what they got, though. They got a setback, and they have a long field to cover if they want to try and put points on the board.
The Cleveland offense ready to go.
It's been a tough go for them. It's still without any points here in the 4th quarter. And a big deficit, Charles. But they moved the football on some drives. They just haven't had any points.
Yeah, and I know in their minds.
And he's free going down the left side. It's a foot race. And he is into the end zone. Touchdown, Cleveland. Nick Chubb, 85 yards.
And the Browns are finally on the board here in the 4th quarter.
So they will get on the scoreboard here. Give them credit for that. Too little, too late, but no 0. Oh, you're going slow clap on me.
Not very nice, is it?
No, but they haven't been very nice on offense. It's been a struggle.
Watson and that Browns offense going to stay out there, and they'll go for 2.
They'll look to throw. Flushed out right.
I don't know about you, but I can't wait for a few years of 2-point tries and see what the data tells us, because a lot of teams want to throw the ball in this situation, this time unsuccessfully. I just wonder if maybe running the ball might be the way to go.
With it moved up from the 3 to the 2, you would think maybe a few more attempts at running.
I think stats over time may bear out that running the ball will at least be the equal of throwing it in that situation.
The Lions offense ready to kick off their next drive.
You just kind of feel for the defense right now, this deficit. They have not been able to stop them the entire game, Charles. And some hands on hips, some long faces out there on the defensive side. They're like, oh, my gosh, we got to face these guys again.
Here's a diving catch right side. A big play there for Detroit. 55 yards. From the red zone now, Goff. This is caught by Williams. And this will be a gain of 6 when it's all said and done. Down to the 15 from the 21.
Fired that one in there, able to make connection on a nice in route.
With those faster passes when they're going that fast, any hesitation as a quarterback that the deflection, if you miss, might be bigger and lead to an interception?
Yeah, and the deflection works both ways. Maybe a defender gets a hand in the way and it pops in the air. And sometimes you throw it so hard your receiver can't handle it, and he pops it up in the air for the defenders to grab as well.
But a moot point there as they were able to connect. Working with a 2nd and 4. Goff. And he's going to be intercepted for the 3rd time thus far. Picked up by Ron Thornhill. And the Browns are going to take over once again, and they'll have it at their own 8-yard line. The Browns drive about to get started. Where we stand right now in the 4th quarter, this one pretty much out of reach. And, Charles, I know they're going to be disappointed about several things with this ball game, but the self-inflicted wounds, they've had several turnovers. You would have to think that's going to be something they're going to discuss heavily in the film session in the coming days.
You're absolutely right about that, partner, because they're going to have to sit in that film room and watch every error that they made and figure out how to not do it in the future. And mentally, I think a lot of the guys are already starting to think about, okay, how do we put this behind us and get better for the next time out? This, they'll use as motivation for the rest.
There he goes, Amari Cooper.
How about this?
Touchdown, Browns. Amari Cooper, 84 yards.
And the Browns get a small measure of revenge as they cut into this 4th quarter deficit. Well, CD, they just haven't had a whole lot to cheer about or really grasp onto in this game. They've been dominated, but at least they get a late touchdown here, something positive to put on film for tomorrow's session.
Yeah, they're still trying to execute, trying to get some positives on their board and ledger sheet and keep this from being a total loss. Give them credit. They're going down fighting.
Looking to maybe throw for it here, Watson. And they're going to get the 2-point conversion, caught in the end zone. And that cuts the lead a bit further. He hits the big target for the 2-point try. Defenses hate those guys, especially around the goal line.
It's hard to decide who you're going to put on him. Are you going to put a smaller corner on him? Are you going to put a safety who doesn't have maybe the same coverage skills? How about a linebacker? He may have the size, but he's not used to really covering in space. That's why the tight end gives you such a great advantage when you're throwing the football.
And the Lions are able to cover this one up. 4th quarter, they felt like they needed the football back. Unfortunately, they couldn't get it.
And I know we brought analytics into the game, and someone has said here that the data says that when a team's expecting an onside kick, 80% of the time, the team expecting it, they do actually recover the ball, which is what we saw here. I just wonder if that number is much more of a anecdotal type of a number. Kind of like when the coaches tell us, well, when you score on special teams, 93% of the time you win the game. I'm still waiting to see that number is empirical.
And now a throw on 1st down there, but it's incomplete.
Well, their passing attack, even though that one was incomplete, has been really sharp in this one. It's resulted in a lot of touchdowns, and it looks like they're not going to stop throwing the football until the very end of this one.
Well, that will certainly make everyone involved on offense pretty happy because that gives them all a chance to pad their stats a bit. But as far as the actual need, you and I both know they can just run this clock out because this one, it was over a long time ago.
And he's going to take this down close to a 1st down at the Browns' 42.
68 yards on the ground for him so far.
The Lions on 3rd down. They've been okay, 2 for 3 thus far. This time they face a 3rd and 2.
Gibbs will try and pick it up.
And that'll hurt the average a bit as this time they're able to get him behind the line. Now the Browns will use the first of their 3 timeouts. That'll leave them with 2 remaining. We'll be back after this. Here comes the Lions punter now, as he'll kick it away for the second time. And this will be touched by a member of the kicking team inside the 20, and it's at the 17-yard line. The Cleveland offense ready to go.
Well, we said it at halftime that they would need a nearly perfect second half to erase that deficit that they were facing, CD. But unfortunately, the second half has pretty much been a carbon copy of the first.
Yeah, that early lead was almost insurmountable the way their opponent was playing. And, partner, they do have some good news, though. This one is getting close to being over, and they can try and hit the reset button starting tomorrow.
So the completion results there in 9 yards. And they'll have a 2nd and 1 forthcoming. That's a staple of this offense. Drag route to the tight end.
Yeah, he was unable to use his size to break off much more yardage after the catch, but still an effective gain nonetheless.
Off of play action, it's Watson. And we are inside of 2 minutes left in this lopsided affair. So the Browns in possession of the football here as we get you reset. They face a 3rd down now as they try to find a late score.
So they just need 1 yard here to pick up the first down.
Watson to throw on 3rd and 1. And now here is another interception. Jack Campbell with a pick inside the 20. And he will bring it back. An interception return for a Lions touchdown.
Well, what has been a fantastic game for this defense has been rough for this offense, and certainly a signal caller, Charles, that's thrown all these interceptions. Another one there, and this one taken all the way back for the score.
Partner hoping they're holding a nice little spot in the post-game highlights to show this rip of interceptions and great plays this group has made. They've been on it from snap one.
And this is going to be caught. So add 2 more to the lead as they continue to pour it on here in the 4th.
I think this is just going to be a function of the times we live in now. Very similar to the bat flip in baseball. Everyone's got to start to get comfortable with this. But to me, this is just rubbing it in. You got a big lead. Go ahead and take the extra point. One thing to keep in mind, though, karma's still out there, and sometimes it has a way of catching up with you.
And he'll be brought down shy of the 20, so the decision to bring it out of the end zone, not a good one.
The Browns drive about to get started.
Well, CD, it's all window dressing at this point. I mean, the best they can do is in the game with a nice drive to maybe build some momentum to move forward into their next contest.
Yeah, with how lopsided this game has been, even one score might not do a lot of cosmetic good on the scoreboard, partner, because it's just about looking forward at this point. Get a touchdown here, give yourself some positive momentum and reps to focus on when you get back to practice in the next couple of days.
Now we'll play fake, and it's Watson. Buying time to his left. And that is taken in by Njoku. And he'll be out of bounds right at the 40. 22 yards there, a first down. Now, 4th quarter, certainly not enough time for a comeback, but nice to see them making use of the time remaining to try and make this one a little more respectable.
Yeah, I think the ultimate goal, good execution, be crisp, be sharp, and find a way to put some points on the board to make this thing look just a little bit better.
Now Watson, he's going to move him around.
Here's Watson now on 2nd down. And his throw here is incomplete.
That incompletion is not a surprise with the way that this one has gone, and the frustration of body language is evident everywhere. This team, they've really been put through the ringer in this one.
An incomplete pass on that last play, and that means they'll need to come up with something here on third down. To throw is Watson. And under the Lions' pressure, he's brought down.
The decision made for them. They've got to go. It's fourth down. An audible here to get a new look.
Desperation time. Watson on fourth down. Now a desperation throw deep downfield. And my goodness, another interception. It's Brian Branch with it. And the Lions are going to get the football here as he gets this up to the 38-yard line.
The Lions take over first and 10 at their own 38-yard line.
The Detroit offense ready to begin their drive.
Well, they don't need to score here, that's for sure. They could just kneel it. They've got the huge lead late fourth quarter, but we'll see how they're feeling, Charles.
Yeah, we all... And this is caught. And he will get into the end zone. It's another touchdown. This thing is ugly.
Well, when they said before the game that they were going to try and execute every second of this contest, I guess that was taken literally, because here they are in the final moments of the fourth, putting another touchdown on the board, Charles, to add to this big lead.
I'm not a big believer in 110%, but it certainly applies here, doesn't it? Because some guys just can't go with less. As long as there's time left on the clock, they're pushing to get to the end zone one more time. They don't really care about what the optics show. They just want to finish the game off the way that they like to play it. Full speed, all out.
Oh, a good return up past the 30. Taking it right down Broadway. And he will score. Touchdown, Cleveland. It's been a back-and-forth game, a lot of points on the board, and that return right there kind of indicative of how this thing's gone.
Yeah, you've seen both teams go at it, and as you just pointed out, both of them have found the end zone. But just like in boxing, you know the blow that hurts the most? The one you didn't see coming, and that often is the case when it comes in special teams.
And they just took a timeout with 2 seconds to go. This one obviously decided. Not sure they needed to take it, but we'll take it with them.
Watson and that Browns offense going to stay out there, and they'll go for 2.
One final shot. They'll look to throw. And maybe a measure of revenge there. He's had his way in this one, but this time they get him behind the line. So despite the huge deficit, they're going to keep fighting. Here comes the onside kick. And the Lions are able to cover this one up. And they will elect to decline the penalty.
Everything turned out the way they wanted it to. No sense in even having to take that one, hence the decline.
Throwing now, Goff. He'll rifle this one deep right side. And it's incomplete. Still throwing to the very end. But now this game is over.
Charles, a lot of happy faces voices heading into the tunnel as this one ends, and understandably so. Not only did they get the win, but, boy, their offense was on fire in this ball game.
And, partner, I have no idea what the top speed is on one of those high-end sports cars. What's the top gear you can get into? This offense, they certainly were there in this one, huh? Everything clicking for them in this contest, the kind of performance that they're going to cherish.
So that'll do it for my partner, Charles Davis, and the best darn crew in the industry. I'm Brandon